After a request from Cole Robbo, I've decided to do some close-ups of some of the fish. Cole wanted to know a little bit more about the skashiki. I'll try and zoom in. Okay. He's not perfect, but the patterns are quite nice. Where's he gone now? I've lost him. Here we go. I'll try and do a still photograph of him, but there you go. As you can see, the benny, just on the edge of the scale, you've got some sumi showing through. I'm no expert, but I would have thought if he's going to be a top rate gashiki, that benny has to be perfect, with no sumi showing through at all. I don't know, maybe Cole can tell me. But the patterns, for me, are really nice, other than that sumi showing through. But if you see his head, now I think you call them maritan when the head is red, but it's a deep red, and for me, I just love that fish, as imperfect as he probably is. So the next one up is that large Sankey. His white predominates. I've just gone underneath there we are. He had a bit of an accident yesterday, so he was a bit sheepish. But he's around about 60 centimetres. A very strong spine if you look towards the front. Just on the left hand side there, he scraped himself yesterday. He got tangled up in a bed of fishing line, of all things. He panicked and thrashed about. My fault. Anyway, that's another story. But he survived it. And he is a Sankey. Just see that black sumi coming through there. But other than that, other than a little bit of shimmy poking through somewhere, he's all but a haku. But he is, because that sumi, a Sankey. Albeit a poor one. If you just see his pectoral fins, you'll see one or two black stripes, and that again denotes him as a Sankey. There we are, it's one of my better Sankeys. He's quite nice. Okay, these patterns aren't perfect. Some of the sumi crosses over into the benny and the white, but he's okay for me. And there's a small, we'll look at the small showers later. One up is the susui, or susui, depending how you wish to pronounce it. Okay, this one here is round about 40 centimetres. He's okay. I like his markings on the back, straight down the spine there. And right above him, he's getting quite large now, like kikikuru. I actually quite like him. He's white, lovely. Not too much sumi, but he's okay. The sumi on his pectoral fins, I think you call it motoguru or something like that, or monoguru. I'm sure somebody will tell me the correct terminology for the black on the pectoral fins. But he's a bit overweight actually. But he is, well, 50 centimetres, I hazard a guess, and quite wide. He just eats everything. Whoop. He's just had a feed, that's probably due to that. Just down there is a kinkikuru, because of the benny. He turned out a bit of a mess. We got some parasites about 2 years ago, and I think what the treatment did, I probably put a touch too much in. It probably burnt just a fraction. And where he's healed over the benny, it's turned into shimmy. So he's got a bit of a mess actually. We call him the beast. He developed quite a large ulcer just underneath his belly, and he survived it, and you can just throw anything at him and he seems to get through it. I've just fed them and they're all itching just a little bit. I probably overfed them yesterday, so I better check the water parameters again. That might have something to do with it. Next one up is the Becco. You can tell he's a Becco, not a Shiro, because the tortoise shell sumi on him, the circular sumi. I think if he's a Shiro, then it'd be more black banding or sumi banding. But because they're more circular, he's a Becco. Quite nice actually. One of my favourites that my daughter's called Jack, the Kajaku. I purchased him from New Forest Koi last year at 35 centimetres, and I hazard a guess now he's a good 45 to 50 centimetres. He's just grown loads. I love the reflective scales. It looks almost like a platinum colour. Yeah, one of my favourites. Next up is the Deutsche Shower. Now I bought him at 25 centimetres, literally 2 weeks, and I can tell already he is growing. They have been feeding extremely well because of the warm weather, but I reckon he's put on at least a centimetre, 2 centimetres, so I'd suspect now he's a good 27, 28 centimetres. Got lovely skin. I can only apologise because of the reflection no matter where I go, because we have got the sun out. It's not total sun, but it's enough to reflect quite heavily on the surface of the pond. That shower just to the left of him, he's a standard shower, and I've had him from about 2 centimetres long from Cuttlebrook Farm. So I've had him about 3 years now. And there's the other shower. My daughter's called him Valentine. And if you can see, he's got sort of heart-shaped benny on him, or her. So that's why my daughter's called him Valentine. But again, the skin on him is lovely. Here's Jack again. He's a really healthy fish. But back to Valentine, I bought him at 30 centimetres, again 2 weeks ago. And I suspect he's grown as well. It's certainly gone a little bit wider. I'll show you the food I'm feeding them in a while. So yeah, so I suspect he's a good 31, 32 centimetres, and that's after 2 weeks. But they have been absolutely guzzling the food I've been giving them. Okay, so that's the pond, and that's the fish. So let's have a look at the food that I'm feeding the koi. This year I've gone for JPD, Shogun and Shori. I know it's still early summer, so what I've been doing, I've been mixing 50-50 the Shori and the Shogun together, and the fish have just absolutely been guzzling it. I also fed the Shori to the fish last year, and I think that's why they've put on quite a bit of weight. It is a high gain weight food, lots of protein in there. This year I've introduced the Shogun, whereas last year I mixed the Shori with the Evolution Aqua Premier. The fish like that food. It's just that this year I tried to get hold of some. There was none in stock from my normal supplier, and I was told, oh, they've got JPD Shogun in, so that's why I chose that instead. Now, I fed them literally 5-10 minutes ago. I don't really want to feed them again. It started to flash a bit. I'm putting that down to me overfeeding yesterday. I also fed them in the evening, some pond treats which are incredibly high in protein, and I think it's due to that I've now got protein foam on the top of the pond surface, and that started yesterday basically, so my own fault. And I think what I better do is check the water parameters now. So with that, let's have a look at the parameters. So there's the water. It's been in for about 5 minutes now, so the are starting to turn pink. Let's give it the allotted time, then we'll go back to it. In the meantime, let's have a look at one more fish, and that's the Hayatsuri, or Hiyatsuri, some people say. He's quite nice colour. He has got he has got shimmy. Quite a lot all the way around. But it's still quite a nice colour, at least I think so. He's round about, again, I'd say 45 to 50 centimetres. So, I certainly haven't got any show quality koi, but to me they're all special. One other fish. If you see him there, he's a cross between a mirror carp and a Yamabuki ogon by all accounts. And again, he's a good 55 centimetres now, I'd say. I have got other fish in there. You can see that ghost koi just there. I've had him since he's a little tiddler. See, they're all flicking a bit. I suspect the water parameters are going to change because of all the food I gave them yesterday. So there you are, that tells the story. I've been overfeeding them. The good news, ammonia is still 0. The pH is still 7, so that's stable. The bad news is that nitrite's gone up to 0.5 milligrams per litre. Not too concerned about the nitrate. Nitrate isn't really toxic to the fish, and you could probably take it up to about 50 before you need to start doing something about it. So 10 milligrams per litre. No, on the nitrate I'm okay, but it's a nitrite. It's starting to creep up. I prefer that to be to absolute 0. So let's see what we can do about it. What I've been using for the last few years is calcium chloride, and what it does, it calms the fish down. Apparently the nitrite can burn the gills a little bit, and calcium chloride, by all accounts, does something to the water to calm them down. I'm not quite sure what it does, but I've used it and it seems to work. Whether or not it neutralises the nitrite, I don't know. I've never tested the water after adding this. I just know that the fish themselves calm down. Just underneath the bridge there, you can see a couple are starting to sit on the base of the pond, and it's not just one or two. It's not parasites, that I'm convinced about, because they're all flicking and flashing. It's a water quality issue, I'm convinced of, and I believe it's that which is the nitrite is starting to creep up. I'm on the lower end of the spectrum, so I should still be able to do something about it without doing a massive water change. So let's put the calcium chloride in. So what I do, I just get a gallon of pond water. Now this stuff is exothermic, and what that means is it will heat the water up. When you put it in, that's what the chemical reaction does. For that reason, use gloves, because you don't need it on your skin. You're going to have a little bit of moisture in there anyway, so keep it off your skin. I'm going to be careful, so I know I've got some bare skin here, but it should be okay. And all I'm going to do now, put round about 6 large spoonfuls, this is a dessert spoonful, into here. It's basically a salt. I'm having a great deal of success here. It's coming off the screen. Undo this a bit. Way up. And there we are. Try and get it by as close to the camera as I can. Okay. There you go. Very large flakes. Just one more, they weren't quite flat. Now what we'll do is just stir it up a little bit. So there you go, you can probably see it effervescing. I just don't know how much the reflection is taken away from what you can see, but it's definitely effervescing. And the temperature will now start to rise. That's why it's really important that you don't put this direct into the pond. Let the chemical reaction take place. I usually leave it for about half an hour or so until I can see the effervescing finish. So the sun's just come out direct overhead, and hopefully that'll show the fish up quite well, especially that gashiki, or goski as some people like to call them. So I've left it for an hour. I'm going to tip this calcium chloride in now. It's pretty much stopped effervescing. It's a bit cloudy, but it stopped effervescing. I'm going to empty half of this 1 gallon container that contains 6 heapspoonfuls of calcium chloride, and let's see how the fish react. If it affects them adversely, obviously I'll start doing something with the water. I'll do a bit of a quick water change, but the quantity I'm putting in, it shouldn't do that. Okay, so half of this contains 6 heaped spoonfuls, dessert spoonfuls of calcium chloride. I'm putting half in, that's half a gallon, and then I'll wait for an hour to see if there's any adverse effects. If there isn't, then I'll carry on and top it up again. Okay, here it goes. So there you go, that's 1 gallon in. Let's have a look at what happens to the fish. It should calm them down, and hopefully they'll stop flashing and stop sitting on the base of the pond. Now there's one other interesting fish I've got, and you can see in there is the largest fish in the pond is approximately between 60 to 70 centimetres. But what is he? Is he a Gromo? Certainly dappled. But if you look at him, I'll try and zoom in. I believe he's got a kui. And there's that Goshiki again, for Col Robbo. Another view for him. If you look in the centre there, I've got a butterfly koi. Not particularly good specimen. It was lovely when I first bought him, but I was warned about fin rot, and yeah, I don't want to pull him out. Well, let's zoom in on him. You could probably see it. And yeah, he's not been happy for a while. But the big one down there again, I don't think he's a Sankey. He's got black on his head. Now if you look on his nose, just there, it looks a mess, and I believe that's a kui. It just bores into the belly, and apparently that's where a kui takes place. It's a form of skin cancer, so I've been led to believe. Yeah, so when you look at the size of them compared to the others, bear in mind that Kikakuru there, he's about 50. So the big one's got to be 60 centimetres. Yeah, so I suspect he's a Gromo. Any other suggestions out there, please let me know. Anyway, since I've added the calcium chloride to the water, this is after about an hour and a half, the fish have calmed right down. They start to settle just on the base of the pond, but they're not flashing so much. So it's an nitrite that was causing the issues. And just a suggestion for people out there who are tempted just to pull the fish out the minute they start flashing, that in itself will cause more problems. Always check your water parameters first. It's one big lesson I've learned in the past. I used to pull them out quite regular, and I did find the ones I pulled out, because they got so stressed, I put them back in and it took them ages to recover. And sometimes you used to thrash about, I hope he's flashing still. So what I might do, don't be tempted to pull your fish out until you've checked the water parameters first. That's my suggestion anyway. I haven't pulled any of mine out for over 12 months, and to be quite honest, I think they fared a hell of a lot better. They've grown over the last 12 months massively since I stopped pulling them out. So there you go then. About 4 hours on, I put 2 good doses of calcium chloride in. By 2 doses I mean about 12 heaped dessert spoonfuls of calcium chloride mixed with the water, sprinkled it over a couple of hours, and the fish are as happy as I can't see them flashing. I've been observing them now for a couple of hours, and it looks like they want to feed. I haven't fed them all day because of the nitrite, but I might just give them a last feed now. So let's see how they react to their food. So there you go. I think they're happy. I'm going to give them no more now. I've just reduced the feed over the next few days just to get the nitrite levels down, and then hopefully by next weekend filters sorted itself out. Anyway, until next time, have a good one and happy ponding.